Good morning. Good morning. Let's see, are we live yet? I should have known that on our very last day, everything would want to do updates and shut down and give all kinds of problems. I should have known. I should have known to be down here 30 minutes earlier. But we are live now, and I am so glad because I was like, we can't miss the last day. What's going on with my computer? Why is it doing this? So, guys, welcome to the last day of this 31-day Wisdom for Moms Back to School Challenge. And you guys, look, I got my clock now. You guys, it's been 31 days. Every single day for 31 days, we've been in the Word. And I want to encourage you not to stop. Go ahead and open up your Word. And hey, I want you to come to the Word completely open to whatever God has for you, right? To whatever He wants to do, whatever He wants to say, however He wants to correct you. Come to the Word, even saying, Lord, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong about this? Help me, correct me, show me. I I cannot tell you how many times God has been like, "Yeah, I know you believe that. Yeah, I know all the people around you believe that. Yeah, I know that's what everybody's been telling you to believe, but at the end of the day, I need you to come to the word and get what God says, right? So that is it. We are seeking the wisdom of the King 31 days straight, you guys, and I want to invite you guys to continue on a journey. If you are a homeschooling mom, we have a virtual planning lab that helps us to plan together, get our week together, hold one another accountable, share resources, and even just encourage one another in the Lord. So if you want to be a part of that, you're going to want to head over to this stained glass life. Nope, stainedglass.life, stainedglass.life. I think that's where you go. If not, just message me. I don't know. I have two or three different domains, but if you want to be a part of that, that is, I can tell you more about that at the end. And also, I'm going to be doing a challenge, and it is a homeschool 101, just basics about how to homeschool. Okay. The name of the challenge is I Want to Homeschool, the I Want to Homeschool challenge. You don't have to pay anything, you don't have to be involved in anything. It's going to be next week, the second week of September, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for 1 hour a day. I want to homeschool. That's it. Homeschool 101. What does it mean to homeschool? What does it look like? Do you have to do the school thing? Do you have to have a schoolroom? Do you have to have a particular curriculum? Um, what does it look like to homeschool? Homeschool 101. That's the name of this challenge is I want to homeschool, and it's just and now nowadays I guess it would be homeschool 1101 because all of this the college courses start with 1101 instead of 101. But that's what I really want to invite you guys to. I want to invite you into our virtual planning lab, and I also want to invite you in to join me on this challenge of I want to homeschool. Maybe you are not a homeschooler right now, and you sent your kid to school for 3 weeks, and now you're like, this is not it. What do I do? I'm here to help. Okay, I want to homeschool. Um, just comment. That's it. Comment challenge. Tell me the word challenge. I want to know more about your challenge. Whatever you do, I'm going to look in the comments and I will send you all the information. I will be putting it out soon. It will be next week, September 9th and 11th, I think it is. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And you guys, I hope you'll join me. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Actually, I won't. That's the announcement. I'll mention it probably when I go out. But let's jump into this last and final proverb. It's so famous. Proverbs chapter 31 is so famous for telling us what a virtuous woman might look like. And there's so many nuggets in here that I want to point out, and I'm really excited to get to it. So let's pray and get right into Proverbs chapter 31. Father, I thank you so much for your word. I thank you for who you are to us and just that you have been with us every day. I'm so grateful, Father. I know that this was probably mostly for me, and I am just grateful that that you met me here. And to anyone who is watching, may the Lord just, may you be meeting them, Father. May you meet them and transform their lives as you have transformed mine. Father, I pray over this last day, this last chapter, these last words, Father God, that they will really just be the beginning. Lord, I thank you, Father, that you want to be with us eternally. And so, Father, may this just be the beginning of a daily walk with you. God, I thank you and I praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, you guys. Proverbs chapter 31. Let's go. These are the words of King Lemuel's mother, apparently. The words of King Lemuel, the utterance which his mother taught him. What, my son, and what, son of my womb, and what, son of my vows? Do not give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for the kings to drink wine, nor for princes intoxicating drink, lest they drink and forget the law, and pervert the justice of all the afflicted. Give strong drink to him who is perishing, and wine to those who are bitter of heart. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more. Open your mouth for the speechless, in the cause of all who are appointed to die. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. Mm. So she does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and willingly works with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She also rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and a portion for her maidservants. Yeah, but the maidservant's supposed to be making the food. Anyway. She considers a field and buys it. From her profits, she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. She perceives her merchandise is good, and her lamp does not go out at night. She stretches out her hands to the distaff, and her hand holds the spindle. She extends her hand to the poor, yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is clothed with scarlet. She makes tapestry for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies sashes for the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. She watches over the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. And that, my friends, is Proverbs chapter 31. Y'all, mm, mm, mm. I know that this chapter is always talked about when it's like, what does a virtuous woman look like? And I have to say, somebody said to me one time long ago, and I thought it was funny, and y'all don't be mad, okay? But because this is just kind of a joke, but it does bring to mind some important truths, right? She said, "You do know that the Proverbs 31 woman is fictional." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, it starts out, who can find this woman? Who can find her? Where does she exist?" And I was like, "Okay." Now, some say that this is a metaphor. Some say that this woman is somebody that we should aspire to be. And I don't know that I want to, that I feel like we need to, I'm not trying to create, like I say, I'm not trying to create theology around this. I'm just thinking about it. And I think there's a lot about this woman that I want to be. But it's interesting to me that there's so much here. And I guess the first thing that dawns on me is she may, a woman, a real woman, may even actually do all these things. But I seriously doubt she does all these things at the same time. It's probably just not, it's not even really a thing that she would do it at the same time. Like, you don't have to buy land all the time. You buy the land and then you own the land and then you have the land and that's it. You don't keep going. You don't have to buy land. Like, you can buy more land to own, but you're not buying land. Like, she's not a real estate investor. This is not what this is talking about. It's talking about how she cares for her family. So maybe she stays up some nights, right? I was like, wait, her lamp does not go out at night. She rises early in the morning. Does this lady sleep? I didn't realize when I was praying to be a Proverbs 31 woman that I was praying to not get sleep. Because now I'm not getting no sleep. And that's probably the answer to my prayers. And I'm like, wait, hold on, right? So this last, 10 through 31 is a really great reminder of things that we can do, that we have the power to do, that we have been given the authority to do. And it doesn't mean we do all of it. Like right now, I feel like I'm in the season of girding myself up with strength and strengthening my arms. That's kind of the name, I think, of the season that I'm in right now. Just gathering wisdom, girding myself up with strength. I probably need to go work out and physically work out my arms, right? Because I'm struggling with a little bit of bursitis, which I didn't realize was totally about hormones. But anyway, side note. I think that these can be seen as seasons. You can see this however you want. I do believe that we should be learning from this and maybe even striving to be this at some time in some ways. But like, I think there are maybe seasons here. But you want to know something that I think we miss a lot when we talk about this? Because I love that one of the things that jumped out to me is that the heart of her husband safely trusts her, right? And so we want our husbands, those of us who are married, to safely trust in us. And that is an endeavor that is long, a lifelong endeavor, right? It's like, I think we go through seasons where he's like, "Why are you doing that?" And what did, and we do the same thing with them, right? But one of the things that I think we overlook about this chapter in particular, because verses 10 through 31 talk about this woman, and we we really do see Proverbs chapter 31 as the virtuous woman chapter. But I think the first 10 verses really deserve some attention because Lemuel's mother doesn't start out by telling him what kind of woman to find. Lemuel's mother starts out by telling him what kind of man to be. I feel like that deserves repeating. Lemuel's mother doesn't start out. His memory of what his mom told him doesn't start out with what kind of woman to look for. His mother's words to him actually start out with what kind of king he's supposed to be. And she is coaching him and telling him what kind of man he's supposed to be. And that man is that's the husband that is talked about in verse 11. The heart of her husband safely trusts in her. The husband is the kind of man that was talked about in verses 1 through 9. We don't really think about this chapter as the husband, the Proverbs 31 husband, or the Proverbs 31 king. We think about Proverbs 31 as the Proverbs 31 woman chapter. But let's look at what Lemuel's mom starts out saying. She starts out saying, "Don't give your strength to women and nor your ways to that which destroys kings." You got to make sure you have a hold of yourself. Don't go out there giving yourself to all kinds of people. She basically tells him, don't be promiscuous. Don't give yourself to the ways that destroy kings. Don't do it. Then she says, it's not for kings. That's not for kings. It's not for kings to drink wine. Don't be out there getting drunk. It's not for kings to drink wine or princes to drink intoxicated drink. Why? Because if you do that, you might forget the law and you might pervert justice of all the afflicted. She's saying your job is to enact justice, to be just. You're not supposed to be out here acting a fool like you don't got stuff to do. Like you about to die or something. Like you sick. Like you poor and don't got nothing, no responsibilities. You're not poor. You are a rich man. You are a wealthy king. And you have responsibilities and you need to be sober. You need to be about the business of speaking up for the afflicted. She said, open your mouth for the speechless. In the cause of all who are appointed to die, open your mouth and judge righteously and plead the cause of the poor and needy. You have work to do. As a king, your job is to uphold the law, to speak righteously, and to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. That's your job. As a man of honor, as a man of a king, you're not supposed to be out here drinking drinks and smoking smokes. If you want to be called a king, you got to be acting like a king. We out here talking about you're a king, you're a king, you're a king. Okay, be a king. What she says right here is it's not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes intoxicating drink. You out here being drunk, you out here being high, you out here doing things that you know you're not supposed to be doing. You out here giving your strength to women and to the ways which destroy kings. You're not acting like a king. So then why would you get the virtuous woman? The virtuous woman is the woman that the king is looking for. And the king is a man who does not give strong who does not give himself to give his strength to women. He's not promiscuous. He's not out here just wilding out doing anything with any woman. He speaks up for the afflicted. He opens his mouth for the speechless. He judges rightly and he pleads the cause of the poor and needy. That's a king. That's a king. That's kingly behavior. And the king is the one looking for a virtuous woman. We got a lot of people out here, and this is just me being me. Okay, I'm being a little bit, I'm going to have a little bit of sass right now. There's a lot of people out here talking about I'm a king. A lot of people talking about we are kings and queens because for good reason, because we need to know our our worth, right? We need to bolster our self-understanding, and that is not bad. In fact, that's good. But the problem is that when we recognize who we are supposed to be as opposed to how we've been treated and who we thought we were, we haven't moved to the space of acting like kings. We know that we are supposed to be kings and queens. But we really moved to a space where as a culture, as a society, as a people, we have started actually doing what kings do. And some of it is that we don't know what kings do, especially in a nation where we reject the idea of a king, right? But those of us who are in a different government, of a different government, a kingdom, right? We've grown up in this anti-king society, right? We no kings. We talk about no kings, and we don't honor kings. Kings are not elected. Kings are this, that, and the other. But our kingdom, our citizenship, our faith is rooted in a kingdom. That's where that's where the entire concept of kings came from. And so if we reject the entire um, concept of a kingdom and a king, we're in trouble because that is who we belong to. We belong to a king in a kingdom with a kingdom government. And when we understand that, and then we know that that kingdom supersedes whatever government we're under, whether it is a monarchy or a democratic republic or constitutional republic or any of those a socialist um, paradise or any of that. Like we recognize that the king and his kingdom rule and reign above all earthly systems. Then we have to study it. Like, oh, what does a kingdom mean? What does it mean to be a part of a kingdom? What does it mean to have a king? One of the things that we know is that the king owns everything in a monarchy, in in a system, system where there's a king, the king owns everything. The king can send you a letter and say, I'm on my way to your house. That's why in Downton Abbey, it wasn't no, hey, can we come stay at your house? It was like, the king is coming. The king and queen are coming. They're coming here. This is their house. The king owns everything. And when you understand that the king owns everything, you start looking around and being like, am I being a good steward of what the king has given me to steward? Because it's not mine. It's not mine. And when we understand that, then we start acting like kings and queens and we look for instructions. What is a king and queen supposed to look for? Here we go. Proverbs chapter 31. This is what kings and queens are supposed to be doing. Kings are supposed to be sober, speaking up for the speechless. They're supposed to be about the business of taking care of the kingdom. And then he's looking for not just a wife, not just a woman, he's looking for a queen. And this is where the Proverbs 31 woman comes in, right? She's got maid servants. How about that? I need a maid servant, right? I show highlighted maid servants. I was like, she's providing food for her who? For her what? Why? Because she has an entire kingdom to care for. She's a queen. She's not just a wife. I shouldn't say it that way. She's not just any woman. She's a wife and a queen. And these are the things that he's looking for that she can do. Maybe not all at once. In fact, definitely not all at once. But she will learn it. She will ascribe to it, acquire to gain it, and she will do it at various seasons in her life. She's not buying a house every day, but she's acquiring land. For who? For the kingdom, right? And the reason that it's important for us to really think about this in context is we our society has really um, put a lot of expectations on women, and I think women have put a lot of expectations on women. We have decided that we don't want to be home. We want to go out and we want to do the things that men have traditionally done. And in fact, we have not. We don't honor we don't honor the things that women have traditionally done. We honor the things that men have traditionally done, and then we've said, hey, if a woman does that, she's successful. But if a woman does the things that women have traditionally done for centuries and centuries and centuries, somehow she's not worthy of honor. There was a time when we had to fight to go into the workplace. And we fought to do this workplace thing that most men would do, especially post war when the women didn't, quote unquote, need to be in the workplace anymore. You could go back home and the men are back home. You can go back home and you can go back to your way of life. And women were like, no, I like teaching. I like being an engineer. I like this, that, and the other. And I like having a woman doctor. So, we had to fight to get to where we could go and have careers. And now it seems that 50 years later we are having to fight to say, hey, I'm going to put my career down and focus on my family, and that be honorable, right? That we take 20 years off in the middle of our lives to honor our king, our homes, our children, our kids is what I was trying to say. And um and still be valued in society, right? And still not be like, oh, you took 20 years off in the middle of your life. You are no longer qualified to step back into this, right? Like, it's a battle that we have been fighting. And what I think one of the solutions, there's many solutions that I think could be enacted, but one of the solutions is to learn to honor the things that women have traditionally done. We shouldn't have to do something else to get honor. We should be allowed to just get honor doing the things that we've traditionally done. And that should be not just okay, it should be glorified. It should be honored, because everything that we do is honorable and worthy of recognition. But we don't get the recognition unless we're walking across the stage in a pantsuit with a plaque. Then we get the recognition, and it's like, yay, woman power, yay. And feminists are fighting for women to be able to have access into rooms that they never had access before. And those rooms are the rooms that men traditionally had access into. And I get it, I'm not downing that. But what I'm saying is, why is it that women only get honor when they break that glass ceiling? Why don't they get honor when they're sitting in the rocking chair with the child? Why don't they get honor when they're nursing? Why don't they get honor when they're teaching, when they're nurturing? The reality is we deserve honor, and we should not reserve that honor just for doing something that men have traditionally done. We should also get that honor when we're doing the things that we have always known to do instinctively. When we care for our families, we provide. This woman was an entrepreneur, and she was not just any old entrepreneur. She made purple, she bought land, she sold things, she stayed up, she worked, she provided food, she brought food. They said her stuff was, it was like she was a merchant ship. She was bringing in food from everywhere, from afar. Like, this woman was a hard worker, and she deserves honor, right? She deserves honor and respect. Not even, like, I mean honor. That's really what I mean, is honor. She deserves the honor of doing what she's doing, and she should not have to fit into another mold and be and you listen, I'm not trying to downplay or down talk women who wear pantsuits and are CEOs. Like, that's amazing, but that's not the only way to get honor. In fact, I'm not sure that's the primary way to get honor, because honestly, how many CEOs can there be? Unless you go and start your own company, you got to wait and rise up to the level of CEO. I don't have to wait for anything. That's why I love direct sales, by the way. That's why I love MLM and stuff like that, because you get to build your own and you could be the CEO of your own company. But those of us who, like, people who have to wait and work their way up through management to be like a CEO or even just an upper level manager, how many of those really are there? Out of the hundreds of millions of people who live in the United States of America, how many of them are really going to be CEOs, and why is that what we're aspiring to? But how many of us can be mothers, and how many of us can be good mothers, and how many of us can raise the next generation to know and honor God? Like, that is a high calling, and I would say a higher calling than making sure that we look like something that a man looked like 50 years ago. Let's keep our femininity, let's keep our calling, and let's be honored. And let's demand that we get the honor that we deserve. And here's another part of that: let's make sure that we partner our honorable selves with an honorable king. This book is talking about this is who you're supposed to be before you even get to where you can find a virtuous woman. And I love that. I love that because you can't skip over what the man is supposed to be doing before he invites a woman into his home. You can't skip over that. You want a virtuous woman, you got to be a noble man. Period. One of the pieces of advice that we got when we were getting married, and that we give to others, singles and kids who are looking to be married, is, when you make your list, oh, I want a man who's like this, I want a woman who's like this, you make your little list, and then you become the list. Who would that person want to marry? The person that you just dreamed up, the person that you just imagined, the woman or man that you just decided, this is who I want. Who would that person want to marry? You got to be that person. And if you think you don't have to change at all, that you don't have to brush up on anything about yourself, then you're delusional. Like, everybody has to do better. All of us are getting better. We're still getting better. I've been married 21 years. I'm still getting better. I'm still changing things about myself. Like, I want to be intentional about this. I want to do this better. I want to do that better. We're all trying to do better. I want to go work out. I want to eat better. I want to read more books. I want to be quieter in the room when people are trying to talk. I don't want to be the only voice. I want to make sure that I'm allowing other people space to talk and to share their thoughts. These are things that I'm constantly working on. If you think that you are like, I'm gonna be myself and I'm a wild out and whoever wants me gonna come for me, you're gonna be single. And if that's okay with you, that's okay with you. But just know that if you really want to be married, if you really want to find a virtuous woman or a noble man, you've got to become the person that that person might want to be with. That's just truth. It's not politically correct. I know that, but it's true. It's true. You have to be working on yourself. When people say work on yourself, they don't mean stay the same. They don't. They don't mean stay the same. Just do what you're doing better. Just do it. Just do what you're doing more. That's not what they mean. They mean go invest in yourself. Go to school. Get some classes. Watch some important stuff on. There's YouTube University. There's all kinds of universities. You want to learn a new trade, you can do it. You want to better yourself. You want to learn how to speak better. You want to learn public speaking. You can do that. When people say work on yourself, they do mean get better at certain things. So you shouldn't be insulted when someone says, "Hey, if you want something, you got to get better at this. If you want something, you got to get better at that." Somehow we get offended when we say that in the context of if you want a wife or if you want a husband. But it's true. And you can reject it if you want to, but you get the consequences of that rejection, whichever way. And you could prove me wrong. You could go about your business trying to prove the word of God wrong. That's on you. But at the end of the day, it is a noble man that gets a virtuous woman. You don't get to skip this part, and you don't get to skip verses 1 through 9 and just get 10 through 31. You don't get to do that. Anybody wonder why 10 through 31 is so much longer than 1 through 9? Why we got so much more to do? Because that's an age old question. I feel like we got so much more to do. But the truth is that we're not doing all of this all at once. We're not. We can't. But we can aspire to do, like, reread it and be like, huh, what's there's in the homeschool world, and maybe in the education world in general, there's a gentleman who teaches a particular writing curriculum, and he gives the advice: you do something until it's easy, and then you add one, and then you do it until it's easy, and then you add one, and then you do it until, so there's this easy plus one, like, saying that we have in the homeschool community where I am, and it applies in so many different ways, right? And I would say that could apply here, right? In the Proverbs 31 woman resume, you do one thing until you get it, until it's easy. And then you add another one, and you do it until it's easy, and you add another one. I think you can start off by clothing, right? First, it talks about clothes. Maybe you start off by, how do I get clothes? Do that until it's easy. And then, how do I get food? Food is a hard one for me. I'm tired of cooking. I don't think I've cooked dinner but maybe 5 times in the last year, because my husband just was like, I got it. Okay, fine. Why is it so hard? And it is. He knows it's hard. And but we do things one at a time. Add one until it's easy, add one. And then by the time you've been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years, you do look like you're doing all of this stuff. Oh my gosh, she got land, she got food, she got clothes, she got a business over here, she got this, that, and the other. She didn't do that all overnight. She raised her kids, she stayed up late nursing, she missed a couple appointments, she did like all the things, but over time, because her heart was to honor the king, over time, her children will be, let's see, her children will rise up and call her blessed, her husband, and he praises her. Over time, all the things that she is striving to do, her children and her husband will rise up and call her blessed, and her own works will praise her, right? But let's not skip over that first 9. This woman is who is so virtuous. She's not just found, she's made. She's partnered with a king who is noble. Come on, somebody. This king who speaks for the speechless, who looks out for the poor and the needy, who doesn't give himself to strong drink, but stays sober so he can rightly enact the law. That character of a man is who the virtuous woman is for. That's who he's looking for. He's looking for a queen. So let's not skip over the nobility of the man and then require the virtuousness of a king, of a queen. Doesn't work that way. She started out she started out telling him who he needed to be. And then she went to who he needed to partner himself with in the role that he was in. That's important, y'all. That's important. That's what we're teaching our sons and daughters. We're not saying, hey, women, you got to do this, this, and then leaving our brothers to just be whoever they want to be. No, we're raising up men too. In fact, we're raising up men first. Our sons have to be the leaders of their household. And if they cannot lead well, why are we giving them our beautiful, virtuous women? No, no, especially in this society. The reality is a lot of women are choosing no. And I think God's going to honor that, because there's a lot of women, there's a lot of men who are saying no as well. No to nobility, no to righteousness, no to being an upstanding citizen. And I don't believe that God is going to give one of his virtuous daughters to a man who hasn't prepared himself to be noble. And in this society, we don't have to. We don't live in a society where if you don't have a husband and if you don't have a son, you are basically a homeless woman. We don't live there anymore. So we live in a world where these things, they're they're not optional, but they seem optional, right? Like, if I don't know the right word to say, but we live in a world where God will take care of his kid, his virtuous women, if the man won't. He's not gonna have you desperate, look like trying to stay with somebody who's not treating you right. That's just not where we are anymore. And praise God for it, right? So we need to be teaching our men, hey, your job is to be a noble man. And this I'm sorry, I stand with Todd Delaney. Me and him, oof, I wish we could be friends. I got so delivered at one of his concerts. To this day, I see that day as a turning day in my life. It was a Todd Delaney concert in 2014 in Chicago, and I'm telling you, I woke up a different person. I woke up a different person. So I stand with Todd Delaney when I say masculinity is under attack, and we need to teach our kids. We need to teach our boys. I don't even know how, y'all. I got my husband. Thank God for my husband. But the reality, I know what needs to be done. Because I love my son. I be wanting to cuddle, snuggle, all the things. But I got to teach him to be a man. Because I want him to be a noble man so that he can deserve a virtuous woman. That's how that's supposed to go. That's how that's supposed to go. And in this society, ain't no games to be played. They'll just be without you. And then we're stuck trying to figure out the society with a whole lot of women with no men. And I can't say that that's the best way to go. But I know a lot of women are opting out of being with some wimpy, non noble man. I know that. So, and as a result, the godly women are not getting married till they're 45 and 50 years old. They're not having kids. And we don't have this legacy. It's statistically that's what's happening. So, I don't know if that's necessarily all the things that are happening, but it's definitely something to be talked about and considered because our men really, whether we like it or not, whether we want to believe it or not, men and the way that our men act and the way that our men lead direct society. So when we see society failing, honestly, we can look to the men and be like, "What are you doing? What are we doing?" And the women are doing. We're upholding what's here. But as the society, as men fall and their mobility falls, so does our society, and we see it. We see it. We see our men being promiscuous. We see our men being lascivious. We see our men not honoring women but using women. We see our men being very ignoble, and then we wonder why our society is failing, why it is declining, why the morals of our society are declining. Um, we see it. We know it. We see it. We do. And we are trying to hide it. We're trying to act like we don't. Some of us are trying to pretend like, it's back on the up and up. We're on our way up. But at the end of the day, watch your men. Look at your men. Show your men. Show us your men, and I can show you where our society is going. But if you want to know a virtuous woman, you got to be a noble man. That's how that goes. At least that's what I think. So, and I believe that we can see that in the word because she didn't just start out by saying, "Go get you a virtuous woman." She started out by saying, "Be a noble man." That was her first order of business, right? So that's it for Proverbs 31, and that means that that's it for our 31-day Wisdom for Moms Back to School Challenge. Can you believe it? We are done. 31 days in, and we are done. Guys, don't let this be your last thing. If this has developed something in you that it has just helped you or gotten you in the word more or anything like that, don't let this be the end. Let this be the beginning. Okay, Proverbs is here. You can start over tomorrow in chapter 1. You also can join us on our challenge, our homeschool. I want a homeschool challenge, just straight out the box. If you are interested in finding out more about homeschooling, that will be next week. You can also join us, homeschooling moms, on our virtual planning lab every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Central. And then just stay in our universe, and you'll see more and more things coming. I'm excited to see more and more things that we're offering. We're going to be doing prayer for our kids, calling them my name and truly praying over them, and basically just not allowing the enemy to have them. So, guys, what a pleasure it has been. I don't even know if 5 of us have been on here. It doesn't matter. God has truly met me, and I'm so grateful for this challenge. This is the third year that I've done it. This is the first year I did it completely by myself, no guests, just me getting in the Word and just letting God, um, just letting God show me things and highlight things. And I'm really excited about the things that He's shown me, and I pray that He continue to show me things. I know He will, as I'm obedient to being in His Word. He is a good God. So you guys, join me for next week's I Want to Homeschool Challenge. Pass the word. You'll start seeing flyers. You'll start seeing advertisements, not ads, but like marketing. Join me for that. And if you are interested in jumping into our virtual planning lab, just shoot me a message. You can just comment or shoot me a message, and I will send you the link to be able to join. So, on that note, I pray that you guys have had an awesome August. Mine has been hard. I'm so glad I was in this word because my August has been hard. But I pray that you guys have had an awesome August getting in the Word with the Proverbs, that you will have a fabulous Sunday, and that tomorrow, when the new month starts, that you will have a fresh look on this new season, and that you will walk in the wisdom of our King. I love you, and I thank you, and I pray